Thanks for stopping by, GF Explorers. Today, our countdown to Thanksgiving continues.
And today we are making both of our, I believe, favorite dishes, gluten and dairy-free, green bean casserole, the perennial vegetable dish of almost everyone's Thanksgiving memories. So back when I had to go gluten and dairy-free, there were no cans of dairy-free cream of mushroom soup, and certainly there were no crispy fried onions you can buy in a can. Today there are, so you may ask yourself, well, why when those things exist do I need to make it myself? Well, there's a couple, 2 or 3 different reasons.
Well, my favorite reason is the fried onions.
Oh my God, they're
without
so
question. So there's a ton of fried onions that you can buy in the can. The French's, I remember those growing up.
But those aren't gluten-free.
But today there are so many gluten-free brands of fried onions out there, you could go and buy them. But what's the fun in that?
Everybody's looking for them this time of year. It's very possible that you don't get them in time and you can't find them. So it's always good to have a backup recipe so that if you love green bean casserole, you're never going to be without. And then on the dairy-free side with the cream of mushroom soup, you really don't even need cream of mushroom soup. It's about making your own bechamel sauce and adding flavors to that. And it is so delicious. Hands down, I don't care if it's dairy-free or not, so much better than a can of cream of mushroom soup. So, what do we get started with?
Fried onions.
Yay!
So I think what I'm going to do first is get the onions fried up, get those set aside so you can make the bechamel and the sauce.
Okay, let's go.
Let's get started. All right, I've got our mandolin out. I've got 1 whole medium-sized peeled onion. I've left the root ball end on, and then I also have a bowl of cashew milk here. So the first step of this process is we're going to slice our onion. I've got the mandolin set at about 1/8 of an inch. We don't want them paper thin, but we don't want really thick kind of onion ring styles as well. We want these to be light and really crispy. So what the milk is going to do is it serves 2 purposes. One, it's going to kind of remove some of the astringentness out of the onion. It's going to kind of smooth out the taste of the onion. And then it's going to give our flour something to stick to. So I'm going to go ahead and slice our onion up. I always use the guard for the mandolin. The mandolin scares me a little bit. So that's one of the reasons I leave the root ball on the end. So we're just going to run this through our mandolin. And now we're just going to take our onions. You can see how they're pretty thin, but they're not completely paper thin. So these are going to make great fried onions. And we're just going to get these here in our milk. And we'll turn these a couple times. They don't have to be in here long. If you could give them an hour, that'd be great. If you don't have that much time, no big deal. I filled my small Dutch oven with about 2 inches of sunflower oil. That's on the stove top, warming up, getting ready to get to temp, which we want that at about 350 degrees. Now let's make our flour blend. In a small bowl, I've got about 1 cup of our gluten-free cooking flour blend, and a link to that will be in the description down below. About 1 teaspoon each of black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and then about 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So I'm just going to eyeball it. Get my onion powder, black pepper, and that looks about good, and a little pinch of salt. All right, then I'll grab our whisk and just give this a quick blend. That looks about good, and now we'll go get our onions and take our flour blend and head over to the fryer. We've got our fry station set up. We've got our onions that have been chilling in the cashew milk, our flour blend we just made up, our hot oil, and I've got my gun. I'm going to temp it. And look at that, we're at about 355, so we're just about perfect. And then we have a sheet pan with some paper towel on it for our final product. And we want to fry in small batches. So we're just going to take a small handful of onions, go ahead and get them right in our flour blend. And we'll go ahead and drop these right in our fryer. Try and shake off as best you can the loose flour. That'll just end up settling in the bottom of your pan and turn your oil bad quicker. All right, that looks about good. So we're going to let these fry for just a minute or two and start that coating to crisp up on the outside. And then I want to get in here with a pair of tongs, grease-proof tongs. Don't use your rubber here, use a metal tong. And I just want to break them up a little bit just to keep the onions, like this group right here, from sticking together. So just kind of loosely break things up a little bit. And then let these continue to fry until they're a nice dark golden brown. And you'll know when that is too, because they'll start to float up to the top as well. And you can see they're already kind of starting to float. But we want to get some good color in there and get them really crispy. All right, our first batch of onions is looking fantastic. We got great color on them. They're all floating. So I'm going to use my spider here and pull them up out of the oil and let them drain just a little bit. We'll get them to one side and get as much out of there as we can. Okay, and this will give us a minute for our oil to get back up to temp. I'm going to hit these with just a little bit of salt. They're nice and hot, so that oil will make that salt stick right to the onions, and you can see how nice and crispy they are. Now, you'll always want to make sure you cook more onions than you need, because you are for sure going to eat some of these. Wow, those are delicious. Best fried onions of any canned product out there are your own. Not only are these great for green bean casserole, but these are great in salads, on steak, so you'll want to keep these around and have extra.
I have the beans in my casserole dish that are thawing out. I like to use Italian green beans. I've used all different types of green beans. These are just my favorite at the moment. You can use whatever you want. French, just regular cut green beans. You could do whole green beans if you wanted to. And then I have the bacon that I cut into lardons and I cooked on the stove. The reason I'm putting bacon in here, which is not necessarily a traditional green bean casserole ingredient, is because I want that depth of flavor and that lusciousness that bacon will bring that will be missing because we're dairy free and we don't have cow butter and cow milk in there. So that's going to bring a lot of depth of flavor we need. And then I also chopped up pretty finely the mushrooms and sauteed them along with some dried thyme on the stove, and we're going to take those mushrooms and put them together with our sauce that we're going to make right now. First thing I did is I took my cashew milk, put it in a small pan, heated it to warm, and then transferred it to a measuring cup. You do need it warm. You don't need it hot or boiling. You just need it warm. So the first step, and this is the starting of a bechamel sauce, which is a mother sauce that you can make a lot of different creamy sauces with. I've got the earth balance and melting it in my saucepan. And as soon as that melts, I'm going to add the flour blend, which I'm using our cooking flour blend. Okay. Now that our butter or earth balance has melted, we're going to add the flour. So what we're doing here is we're making a roux, which is the basis of just a lot of sauces and almost every gravy. So I'm going to put the flour in, and I'm going to vigorously whisk it till it starts to come together and makes itself a little clump. It starts to thicken. Now, if there's different types of roux, you can do a light or a white roux, which this is, which should have hardly any color on it. And then you can do a darker roux if you're doing a gravy. Okay, so now that it's starting to thicken and bubble up, I'm going to slowly add the warm milk as I continue to vigorously whisk. And this is going to thicken as I go along. So for this purpose, we want this sauce to be a little more liquidy. So I'm slowly pouring in the rest of the milk so I can maintain the consistency I want. We don't want it too thick. And as it's on the heat and I'm whisking, it's thickening up very, very nicely. I think we're almost there. I'm going to use the rest of the milk. Okay, so we have a nice base bechamel sauce. Now, this does not taste very good. You can taste it, see for yourself. So what we're going to do now is add some flavor. I'm going to add a little salt, add a little pepper, and I've got some tamari sauce, and onion and garlic powder. And then I'm going to mix it up some more. Oh, I love the consistency. It's exactly where I want it. Not too thick, not too thin. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to give this a taste. Oh, that's good. I'm going to put a little more salt and pepper in here. I want a little bit more flavor. And feel free to, I'm going to turn this to low now because I don't want it to really thicken too much more, but I want to get these flavors melded together. Make sure that you taste as you go to see. Oh, that's a good base. Oh yeah, I'm liking that. So the last thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of the bacon to the sauce. I kind of want the bacon to be just encapsulated in this sauce. And now we are going to add our sauce to our mushrooms. And the mushrooms have been sitting here after I sauteed them, been sitting on low, staying warm while I was making the sauce. Okay, let me get the rest of that in here. And again, I sauteed the mushrooms with a little bit of dried thyme, so we've got lots of flavor coming from them as well. Look at that, is perfect texture right there. Oh my goodness, this is going to be so fabulous. I have the delicious mushroom sauce ready. I've got some the frizzled onions and bacon and green beans, and so we're going to make a casserole. The first thing we're going to do is put about, I'd say that's a couple handfuls of the fried or frizzled onions in here. The rest we're leaving. This is going to bake in the oven for about 25 minutes, and we're going to pull it out, put the frizzled onions on top, bake it for another 5 or 10 minutes, so they will remain here till the end. Now I'm going to add the rest of the bacon that I had cooked up, and now the sauce. Oh, I cannot wait to eat this. This smells so amazing. Get it all in there. Oh, it's so good. Okay, and now I'm just going to gently mix everything together. On a nice distribution. It's gonna all meld and bubble and do magical things in the oven, but I just want to make sure that it's distributed well. Okay, I think we're good. Now I'm going to put it in a 350-degree oven for 25 minutes, and then we're going to put the onions on top.
Go ahead and put a lid on that. Put it in.
So it's been 25 minutes. The green bean casserole has been cooking, and it is looking really fabulous. So I'm going to pull it out, and then I'm going to add the frizzled onions, or the fried onions, whatever you want to call them. Oh, don't burn yourself like I just did. Never a good idea to reach across the hot pan. There we go. Okay, again, as many or as little as you like. This is one of my favorite parts of the green bean casserole, so of course I'm putting a lot on here. But I'm going to leave a few because I'm going to munch. Okay, now it's going to go back in the oven. I like to put it in about 10 minutes. You can do 5 or 10 minutes at the 350, and then it'll be done. Okay, ready for the green bean casserole to come out of the oven. Oh, look at that. It's bubbling. It's beautiful. And I am one step closer to eating it. It turned out amazing. It smells amazing, and I'm sure it's going to taste amazing. I'm taking a fairly good bite. Oh my God, it's so good. I really want to eat more. The strong mushroom flavor, creaminess, the wonderful crunch and flavor from the frizzled or fried onions, and I love the Italian green beans in here. It's a different mouthfeel. I mean, it tastes like green beans, but it's just a different texture, which I really like. I don't know if I could eat dairy and gluten if I'd ever go back to regular green bean casserole. This homemade version is so wonderful. I hope you try it, make it for yourself, and be in this amazing place of green bean casserole love, just like I am right now. Thank you so much for watching. The link to the recipe for the green bean casserole will be in the description below, or you can go to gfexplorers.com and check out this recipe and a whole bunch more. We have all of our Thanksgiving recipes there as well, or you can find some more of our recipes on our YouTube channel. And until next time, happy eating.